Askren is minus 220. Man, that's a tough nut to lay. And Jorge Mastvidal is at plus 180. And you can kind of see it, right? I mean, they're two different types of styles, Kiev. Jorge Masvidal is a boxer, right? He loves to go out there, throw hands, and compile his punches, really get a lot of good hits in there, using his kicks, using hands, using distance, right? Where Ben Askren is a gorilla. He's a baby gorilla, essentially. He's going to get on top of you. He's going to wear you down. He's going to wrestle you to the ground. And he's going to ground and pound you. And eventually he's going to either submit you or get a TKO from the pounding, right? So there's two different types of fighters here, right? Like I mentioned, Askren's that grappling bear, right? It's almost boring. He's not a great stand-up striker, right? So if that fight stays on its feet, man, you're going to win Jorge Mastvidal money all day long. Because Mastvidal, although the last fight that he had in England where he did knock the young kid out, his name is slipping my mind right now, Darren Till, he's always been a compiler of punches, right? And he went up against Darren Till, knocks him out cold, and he was plus 175 there, right? But now he's going against a better fighter, more experienced fighter. So looking at this fight, really for me, I have to go down and look at these prop bets here and see what's going to happen, right? And in my opinion, how Askren wins this fight, he's going to grapple right from the beginning. Masvidal might get a couple of nice shots in there, like we've seen against Askren's last fight. He's going to get hit a little bit, but once he gets in there, once he gets on you, he's not going to let go, right? So he'll wear him down these first round. He's going to wear him down to the second round and eventually get that finish inside the distance. Is it going to be a submission or is it going to be a TKO? I don't know. I'm leaning more towards submission, right? This is where I'm looking. I'm looking at the second round and inside the distance, right? So if I'm going to pick Askren inside the distance, we're getting plus money at plus 350. And if he finishes in round 2, man, it's a plus 850. And that's, it's a little bit harder. It's only a 3-round fight, but listen, it's plus 850 there. And I've seen a lot of fights finish in the second round. So, especially wearing somebody out for the first 8 minutes. And by the time the second 2 minutes left, a minute left in the fight, guy's worn out and now he can get submitted. So I could see that certainly happen. If you don't think that Askren can finish Masvidal, you can still get Askren to win a decision at minus 105. If it doesn't happen, if he doesn't wear him out essentially right in the beginning, then it is going into the decision. But really, my two plays are going to be Askren inside the distance at plus 350, and then finishing in round 2 at 850. You nail these two, man. You're going to have a great night.
So Askren inside the distance here, my man. Did you say his TKO is 32%, right? You think there's a chance that he actually gets a TKO or a submission here? Yeah,
I do.
Submission is, sorry, I forgot to mention 32% as well.
Yeah, I do. I definitely do. I really think that he could wear him out, and that's really what we're looking at here, right? You're laying on him, you're going to ground and pound, you're going to wear him out. Eventually, he's ultimately going to give up, right? I mean, look, he's got a good, Jorge's solid. He's a really good fighter, and he's tough, right? But Ben Askren's a different type of wrestler that he's never seen before. Look what he did to Robbie Lawler, right? So, and that's his first fight into the UFC, right? And that's one of the top guys. He gave him a bulldog stroke in the first round after he was getting his face kicked in, right? And before that, he was in one UFC, right? One championship, TKO, submission, decision at some point. But he really does knock a lot of people out. A lot of those things are on punches, right? It's not one-punch knockouts, but a lot of them are ground and pound knockouts or really submissions, right? So his ground game is good, right? But when you get the guy to the ground and you're wearing him down, and you're trying to carry a sack of potatoes all around the ring, it's not easy, right? And that's a special type of fighter that Khabib, just like a Khabib, right? Once Khabib gets his hands on you, boy, you can't get away, right? And that's kind of the way Ben Askren fights.
Yeah, and if you guys are just worried about Ben Askren, you can even get plus 115. That just the fight goes to doesn't go to a decision. So in case he gets knocked out, there's still some plus money there. But no, which you would win either way. But looking at the fact that over 60% of his fights are not going the distance, that's definitely not a bad prop. I like it, my man.
Yeah.
What else you got?
All right, here's your girl, Holly Holm. and Amanda Nunez, your girl Amanda, right? And really, I'm disappointed in you because Holly should have been your first girlfriend ever. Because boy, you realize what type of a number she got with
Rousey.
With what's her name? Ronda Rousey, right? She was at plus 825, right at the close of the bell. Right before the fight started. I remember we were watching together. You're like, man, I'm going to put a unit on this. And you hit it, and we had a blast that night, right? So
yeah.
That was fun.
I liked her, but and that was a fun night. But there was just something about Nunez and how vicious she looked that made me kind of favor her. But we hit some pluses on her too. Those two have been like literally over the past 2 years. The women fighters have been my biggest money makers, and I don't seem to do as well with the man fighters. But whatever, Holly. I think she lost against was it Misha? I can't remember. And then Nunez took care of her, so it was kind of interesting. But Nunez looks, I believe she's undefeated, isn't she? And she's laying about 400.
Well, undefeated as a champion. She's lost before, right? So she can be beat. I mean, she's not, she's not MMA Jesus, right? She can be beat, and she's, again, I'll say it again. Listen, I like Amanda. I like her, right? Do I go gaga over her? Do I think she's an unbelievable fighter? No, because I believe that she lost against Shevchenko, right? And she lost. She won a split decision, but I believe she lost it, right? So, anyways, listen. I know that people can take her to distance. I know that people can fight her, right? And really, there's the women's caliber of talent is not there like we see the men, where any night a man can win. It's really the haves and have-nots in women, right? And at some point, they got to keep throwing people over at the champions, and the champions have to fight whoever they throw them, and they're not usually the best quality, right? It is what it is, right? She beat Misha Tate. She beat Ronda Rousey. Good, everybody's beating her now when they finally could figure her out, right? She beats Valentina in a split decision. They throw Raquel Pennington up against her, and she's like, for me, she's like a whatever. She almost went the distance with Amanda, and then Amanda knocks out Chris Cyborg, and that's what everybody has in their mind, right? And I don't blame them. I don't blame them. And Holly Holm hasn't done great in her past few fights. I mean, she was really tracking to almost not even be on the card anymore, on the roster anymore. I mean, it hasn't been great. Okay, she won her last fight against Megan Anderson. Before that, she lost against Cyborg in a decision, right? So she goes decision, then she won, and then she lost, right? Right after she beat Rousey. So, yeah, she went on a streak of losing. But, man, Holly is a tough girl, right? So minus 380 for Amanda. Is the money there for? No. Is Holly Holm plus 315 the money there for? Yes, potentially, right? Because, I don't anticipate her knocking Amanda out. I mean, Amanda hasn't been knocked out. Has she gone the distance? Yes. Do champions lose? Yes, they lose all the time, especially ones that get complacent, right? So now that she's won two belts and she beat Cyborg, how big is her head, right? What is her mindset right now? And then Holly Holm coming off a victory here, a solid victory against Megan Anderson, who's a really good fighter. And I sat there and I watched that whole 3-round decision. She beat the bigger fighter up good, right? She wins that unanimous decision. So can she beat Amanda Nunez? Yes. She could stay on the outside. She could throw punches. Look, she's a champion kickboxer, right? She's no slouch. She's not walking into the MMA octagon. She's a champion kickboxer. She's a boxer. So she's got hands and feet that she can throw, right? So Amanda wants to keep this fight outside, and she's going to get hit a la Valentina Shevchenko, okay, like she did against Valentina. Then I'm thinking, why not Holly Holm? Why can't Holly Holm do the same thing? So let me look at this, right? If I go and I look at this fight going to decision, which I ultimately think is going to happen, right? Amanda by decision is plus 215, and Holly Holm by decision is plus 535 right now, right? On those prop bets. So instead of putting one prop on a plus 130 for the fight to go to distance, right? No matter who wins, you win. You split up your hat and make it 2 half units, right? And now you're going to make it no matter what, and you're going to be very, very happy. So when I look at this fight, it's going to decision. That's the way I'm looking at it. It's going to be a punch fest, but nobody's getting knocked out. Nobody's getting submitted. It's going to be a 5-round bloodbath. I like Holly Holmes in a decision here, but that's maybe my Amanda bias here a little bit. But that's what I'm looking at.
You know, it's good that you recognize your bias there. I mean, I'm sure people appreciate that. It's just kind of betting a Bears-Packer game for probably us, right? So, and that's important to do. And it's also, like I always preach, too important to even bet against your team from time to time. Keep them honest. Keep yourself honest.
Yeah.
And but I'll tell you this. When you look at the stats, I know that they fought a lot of tomato cans. But only 12% of Nunez's fights have went to a decision, and 33% has for Holly Holm has went to the decision. My worry about that play, I guess, would be if the officials see all that blood and decide to step in and stop it for whatever reason. You're right. I don't see any value in the side here. To be honest with you, I might just lay a little bit of money on that minus 350, minus 400 on Nunez just to keep my girl rolling here. But I'm not endorsing this pick by any means. This is kind of like a personal play from me. So definitely kind of see your angle here that you respect both of these fighters and they have amazing accolades. And that's why you like it to go the distance.
Kiev, when champions become champions, at some point they don't want to fight to win. They fight not to lose. Okay? So, and it sounds silly, but it's kind of like the next guy I'm talking about, Jon Jones. He almost fights not to lose anymore. George St. Pierre was the same exact way, right? He'll wrestle you. He'll take control of the rounds, but he doesn't want to do anything stupid, doesn't want to leave his arm out, doesn't want to leave himself exposed, right? And I'm almost feeling that Amanda's going to be at that same point here, right? Mm-hmm. Look, and I keep saying that Valentina's fight was in my head, and she should have lost that fight, right? And she didn't because of, drunk officiating, right? Blind officiating, right? So she won that split decision. And then she beats a tin can in Raquel, and then she gets a Cyborg fight, and she knocks her out, right? And Cyborg was about to get knocked out anyways at some point. So with that said, look, I could see Amanda fighting not to lose. She's fighting against a dangerous fighter, and she's not going to maybe want to do too much to expose herself, but not do too little where she's going to be losing rounds, right? So that's why I say it can go to distance, right? We're talking about tomato cans, especially in the women's division, and Holly Holm is no tomato can.
Oh, definitely not. I absolutely agree with you 100%. I have tons of respect for Holly Holm. I think Shevchenko is more of a grappler. Holm is
she's not. She is a full board kickboxer. She throws hands, right? And that's just the way she's going to throw hands, and she's got heavy hands.
Shevchenko does?
Yeah,
okay.
And if you look at the reverse side with Holly Holm, right? This is, like I said, she's no tomato can here, right? So decision loss against Shevchenko, decision loss against Jermaine Duramdame, decision loss against Cyborg, decision win against Anderson with a KO right in between that. So listen, she's going to go to distance. That's the kind of fighter she is. She's going to win on points. If she knocks you out, great, like she did to Ronda. But she's going to go, and she's going to go the distance there and see what she can do. All
right, my man, fair enough. So I personally, my advice to you all is don't bet this one. Let's move on to the next one, my man. What else you have? Is there any other couple more fights you want to talk about?
Yeah, so we'll hit the last one here, right? That Jon Jones. I mean, like you mentioned before, minus 650, right? Man, that's tough. That's tough to lay. And Thiago Santos is a plus 475, and everybody's saying, who's Thiago Santos? Well, I'm going to tell you, this guy throws bombs, and I mean bombs. He's an older fighter. He's been around a little bit. Man, if I told you how many fights he's had since just last year, right? So we're halfway through the year right now. So let me look at this here real quick here for you. February 2018, April 18, August 18, September 18, December 18, February 2019. He went 5 fights last year alone, man. That's a lot. He took one fight in like a month notice, right? Which is unheard of, right? And he went down to Brazil to go there. So he's he's a fighter, right? So